Right, hello there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to another Redmond Roundup, and we are joined by a very special guest, the Muscles. It's the gun show again, baby. I know, I'm skinny. It's one of those things where, I need to go to the gym. Ruby's kind of putting me to shame. By the way, this is Rhubarb. Rhubarb's a Yorkshire Terrier, and she's wondering, James, why you're talking to yourself. Well, she sees me do it all the time, so she should be used to it to some degree. By the way, 50 people in the stream starting off. Rhubarb's going to most certainly maintain viewership. I'm expecting longer engagement in this show because the dog's here. We've got a fucking Yorkshire Terrier, guys. Come back, come on. And we've also got Mbappe and Valverde news. Oh, yeah, Ruby, it's bullshit. This is how much I respect you. I'm bringing you on for a stream as credible as this. It's one of those things. By the way, thank you for the birthday messages. I'm a wet white mate. Thank you for the birthday messages, Rhubarb. Fuck off. I'm only messing. I love you. I didn't mean to tell you to do one. Anyway, guys, shout out to everyone who's in the stream. Big up to Festus. We have got quite a few things to delve into. The main purpose of talking about the Mbappe news isn't because I'm shameless and I want views. That's a part reason. I'm just being honest. Transparency is key between James Redmond TV and his fans. That being said, I'm here to talk about it because I think it's a sign of things to come to be continuously linked with big names and to not expect these big names coming in. And then you've got to ask, why are we linked with the big names? Because we've inquired about them. But why do we inquire about them? Is it because of genuine interest, or is it to make Liverpool look good? So, for instance, when you go and bid for a nice car, but there's a girl there, so you're just trying to show off in front of the girl, but you know you can't fucking afford the car. So you say, I know a better deal than that, but you still want to go out for dinner later? Shut up, mate. You've got no game. You've got no game. So John W. Henry's on Budge. Shout out to Jack. Right, my hands are soaking because that water bottle, I filled it up before. And do you know, like when a water bottle leaks, so it goes all over and it's getting on my laptop and it's making scrolling a challenge. But we'll get there in the end. We'll be a professional. By the way, nearly 100 people in the stream. Please do smash a like. That would be grand. Appreciate it, everyone. I want to give a few people a shout out on my birthday. Living the dream. Rem122, Janav, Brad. All the OGs. I do believe that Johnny is here. We do intend on inviting Johnny into the stream. So let me just send that real quick. And get me your thoughts on these reports as well, guys, in terms of... I think some people believe in the Valverde links, and then some people are just, ignoring the Mbappe links, and rightly so. Let me just send this to John, and I'll tell you my ultimate views on this bullshit slander that's going on at my football club, right? Jonathan. Sound... Paste, send. He's got sent that. Let me have a little sip of water. Happy days and ready to go. Right. The way we're linked with Mbappe again. Like, there's 3 guarantees in life. You're born, you're dying. We're linked with Mbappe every single summer. And then you think, where does it come from? Now, I don't think we've re-inquired about Kylian Mbappe, but just the fact that there's newspapers that have the sheer audacity to even link us in a move that involves £250 million plus 50 million add-ons is ludicrous. So I blame the media and not FSG for this one, but it was FSG who contacted Mbappe. And I do think that there was an element of Mbappe wanting or possibly wanting to come to Liverpool, but I don't think it was an FSG pull. I think it was the project pull. I think it was the atmosphere. I think he saw an opportunity to come to Liverpool if we was on the rise, to really have a 2-3 year period, kind of like Luis Suarez, where he becomes an idol and he can still win us a few trophies. It didn't materialise, and it doesn't look like it's ever going to materialise. I doubt it. Probably be one of those things like when Ronaldo went back to United. We'll get him when he's 35. But I'm only here to let you know that these reports, when they come out, there's no smoke without fire. So when there's no smoke without fire, you've got to analyse from a very critical perspective that, okay, we're going to continuously be linked with these big names. If we're continuously linked with them, then that means there's a carrot on a stick for some fans to look forward to. But we just don't sign big players. I need to get this point across every single stream because it's just not what we do. If we did it more, then we can discuss more. But because we don't do it, we can't discuss. Therefore, it really is pointless talking about this piece of news. But I've genuinely had people asking me about it today, and that's why I didn't want to be so misleading with the title as I usually am, because I understand I'm a scumbag of the highest order and degree. But today I thought, let me add the laughing emoji so people get the gist of the vibes of what we're getting this stream. How we always linked with them and Valverde. There is no way we are paying or ever getting any of these players. What was interesting to me was that people thought there was genuinely legitimate interest in Valverde, but we'll get into that in a second. Let me read a few more. At this point, it's really frustrating to hear BS rumours, so I've become insensitive to them. I only believe it when I see it live on Insta. No, do you know what, mate? I think it's a very good way to live. Don't engulf yourself into social media too much, of course. I keep up to date with the day-to-day news because I want to do YouTube day-to-day, and unfortunately you've got to talk about these topics, but I think you can delve into the hypotheticals, because it'd be amazing if you're Man City, you can speculate of the idea of one day having Mbappe. If you're Man United, you can speculate of the one day having Mbappe, even though it's unlikely because they haven't been good in recent times. You know they've got the resources. You know they've got the brand name. Liverpool have only got the brand. We haven't got the owners. We haven't got the resources. And unless we start to show better signs under Jurgen in the near future, then there's going to be no hope of signing players like that. So even, not only will we not get the players we weren't getting anyway when we were winning stuff, but now the links with the players like Jude and Mbappe, they're going to stop. Therefore, lowering that interest of big players, because even though the players haven't materialised over the line, it is still good for image to be linked with big players. And if we continue to drop, then the names will continue to drop, the value will continue to drop. And people say to me, James, I don't think I want big names, because if you see our best teams and analyse our best teams, it's always been players who have never been at the highest elk when they've joined. But then I raise the point, well, we've won one Premier League in 30 years. So if we've won one Premier League in 30 years, then don't you think that could require a change in approach? And if it requires a change in approach, then that could increase the volume of trophies that we get. And isn't that what we all want? It feels like because we missed out on Jude, Liverpool have no backup plan and gone into panic mode, scouting everyone and anyone. If we had a clear target, I'm sure we'd have signed them by now. This is why I think we do have clear targets. I think one of them is Thuram. I think the only reason why the Thuram deal isn't done is because I think we'll look to open negotiations with Nice after the Euros. So I believe the club has already had them little talks with Nice saying, okay, will we be okay with this deal? We don't want to finalise a deal yet, but would we be okay if we agreed to this deal? And then maybe it's at a point where they're thinking about future negotiations. But one thing I do know, or I'm at least pretty certain on, is that Thuram would be up for the move. So I believe we do have targets. It's just not the targets that are going to get us to where we want to be. And then that's where you need to reevaluate the ambitions. Because where I struggle, if you're okay with FSG, that means you're okay with mediocrity. And if you're okay with mediocrity, then that's not really a fun football fan. You know what I mean? It's like people are programmed just to be like, no, don't worry, FSG know what they're doing. And don't worry, it's fine because we've done this. But they don't ever take into account how much better we could be doing. And then when I raise the question, it's like, oh, you're young. You don't know what you're talking about. You've got a fat head. The last one's true. First two, we have to be open to discussion. We have to, because if we can't find any common ground, then you keep getting the mediocrity that we've been getting. Stefan says, can't we sell Matip to fund a right back instead of watching him walk in after a year, potentially playing him? And good show, James. Thank you, sir. And by the way, guys, can we talk about the Thiago and Matip stuff? I understand that we don't want to be that fan base that fumes at every piece of news that comes out. And I understand we're in a cycle right now where, because it's been bad recently, everything post what has been bad will now seem worse. So I'm trying to be as balanced as possible, but I really don't see the sense in when you've already lost Oxlade, Naby, which although not great players, they were still supreme value assets when you bought them. 90 million combined, probably over with the cater add-ons. So they're two big players that have now gone for free. Milner gone for free, Firmino gone for free, Gini Wijnaldum gone for free. These are significant names who are going for free. And then if you add Thiago and Joel Matip to this list, when you see Chelsea being able to sell all their deadwood to Saudi Arabia, what's the difference of selling a Koulibaly and a Thiago? Tell me why they wouldn't want Thiago right now. Where's the encouragement to let Thiago go to there? I'm trying to not fume. I don't want to raise my voice just to maintain viewership. In fact, I think when I raise my voice, it lowers viewership. But I need to be transparent to the audience that is James Redmond TV. I will never patronise you as long as I live. I'm here to be honest, and I'm here to see if I've missed something. If I've missed something, I can appreciate it. I really can. But it just makes no sense to me. Shout out to Paniscaus. Yeah, don't believe all you hear. We've heard it all over the last year or two. If FSG really wanted to make a big statement to us fans and City, they would get Mbappe to equal Haaland for sure. And think about that battle. Think about that battle. That could be so amazing. Think about the battle us and City could have created. The highest level of football that you've ever seen. But because our owners didn't have the muscles of their owners, and I'm not even just talking about money, I'm talking about ambition. FSG have still got things they invest into. So if they had the mentality thinking, okay, if we look at Liverpool as our biggest asset and we decide to go all in on this asset, yes, we could lose money, but we actually could make a hell of a lot of money. We could build something amazing. We can get investors onto this because we're winning every season. But they thought small and they thought safe, and that's why we're now in a mediocre position. Even after building a team that got 97 and 99 points, you had such a comfy stationary net of a great team for 3 to 4 years, and you didn't build on it. It was a case of buying backup players and then selling the backup players. So Minamino, although I never thought he'd have got in the first team, I still believe giving him the chance to get in the first team would have been beneficial. Now, Minamino isn't the only example. It goes with everyone who we've bought and just let go without trying. But then you think, why don't we buy more efficient players? Because the ones you're looking at clearly aren't working. And if you can no longer compete, then why are we satisfied? That's the only questions I like to raise. Chelsea be rigging this because of the owners. But here's the thing. You say Chelsea are rigging this. I say that Bowley is smarter than our owners because Chelsea are not state-owned. Chelsea are owned by Todd Bowley. He is American. Now, I understand the finances are still superior because I think he owns a bank or something. Maybe it's not owns a bank, but does something with a bank. Chelsea aren't rigging the system. They just have a common goal that Saudi want big names and Chelsea want to get rid of their dead wood. And their dead wood so happens to be big superstars like Koulibaly and Kante. And they've thought, let's put 2 and 2 together. And I wouldn't be surprised if Todd Bowley was so smart to know the surgence of Saudi Arabia after the Ronaldo purchase and think, you know what? I'm actually going to be fine. Let me go out in January and spend more. Let me take the risk. And he knew the risk. Todd Bowley knew the risk of going out and spending hundreds and extra millions, not working out, which it never. And then he's fucked because he can't sell the players because they're all old and worn out. But here's the case. He's analysed the field, something that FSG don't do. They are not football people. Todd Bowley will go out the way, even with all the assets that he's got, he will go out the way and he will see his football team week in, week out, near enough. He'll go to the stadium. He was the one who came in with the agency and said, I will make the decisions. Now, although that didn't remain to be a good idea in the short term, you can see the ambition. And I do think he's looked further ahead and thought, okay, I see Saudi Arabia. I know they'll want my players, or I believe that there could be an interest there. He's smart. He builds connections. Our owners, I always say it, they're either worse cheaters, worse at getting connections, or worse at finding loopholes. Because even with their finances, they are rich enough to run a good football team. Yes, they're not richer than Man City, but they are rich enough to run a good football team. Yet we spend less than Aston Villa. We spend less than Newcastle. The academy is still average. I know these things take time, but it gets heavily accelerated when you do well on the pitch, and that's why that's got to be our priority focus. And I don't believe it's FSG's priority focus. If Klopp watched this, I believe Klopp would be upset with me. I don't think Klopp would like me. I think Klopp would, if somebody said in a press conference and asked Jurgen Klopp about James Redmond, he'd say, what? He's a proper sexy scouser, but he's dead negative. Dead negative. So he give me a compliment, but then a negative. Because he probably doesn't want the exposure of the football club in terms of the issues that him and the owners could have. And obviously, Jurgen Klopp likes everything to be running smooth, and he doesn't want people to be too negative or, in my opinion, truthful. I believe it would be massively insincere to say these owners only want to win. Therefore, I would like to call that out when they say they do want to win. That's all it is. Got to higher the standards. And I hate the fact we talk about FSG all the time, but we also have to. We could have bought Enzo for 15 million last summer. True, there's many players that we've missed out. Dele Alli for 5 million. Haaland when he was at Salzburg. There's plenty of players that we could have jumped on, and we decided not to. I have a feeling we've done our window in the... We've done our business in the transfer window. Will yes man Klopp open his mouth to just question, is that allowed? I've gone into the reasons why Jurgen Klopp doesn't speak out on the owners, and I actually don't blame him. I also don't think it causes any benefit of him speaking out on the owners. And because it causes no benefit, I don't see the point of him doing it. Therefore, I don't mind if he doesn't speak out on the owners because I don't think it causes any good. They don't see the loopholes because they don't pay attention to us all. We're FSG's side chick. 100%. No, of course, because they are here to make a certain amount of money. They can't believe the jackpot they hit when Liverpool was in disarray. And people think like if FSG didn't buy us, nobody else would have bought us. Absolutely not the case. We were a massive entity. There was plenty of people who could have come in and bought us. No doubt. It was a massive opportunity for any businessman. But the score is that, listen, it was FSG and they've done well at things and they've got us back stable. But I think it's also a testament of a good owner who cares when they realise they can't take the football club. let me ask you a question. Let me break it down this way. Johnny's here, by the way. Johnny, shout out to you, sir. How are you? Johnny, don't do this. You've got to be prepared when you're on stream, bro. You know what I mean? You've got to be more urgent and action. Like, you've got to be more action-based. Johnny, screw you, sir. Screw you. Johnny has let us down once again, chat. We bring him in. The worst sideman ever. Really is the worst sideman ever. But I was going to raise a point and it was going to be broken down into a specific way. But now, with the goldfish brain, it slipped my mind. But I think it was going to be along the lines of analysing FSG. And okay, this is what I was going to say. So chat, answer this question one by one. So do you know FSG? Would you want your owners of your football club to have love for the football club? That's a yes, isn't it? You know what I mean? You'd want them to love the football club if they're the owners of the football club. Not that they have to be a fan, but you'd like them to love their business. You'd like them to love their career, be passionate about what they do. So then that translates to ambition. That's a good reason to want love from your owners. I want love from my owners. Maybe you guys might not, but I do. And everyone's saying yeah in the chat. So I'm glad we've agreed on that thing. And I am getting somewhere. I know I'm slow with these things, but bear with me. So yes, we want love from our owners. We want our owners to care. We want our owners to show that love. Now, how do you show love? By showing ambition. And I would suggest love is when you cannot benefit something no more, you have to let it go. The same way a kid has to go to college, you know, the parents, you've took care of them, you've brought them up, you've changed the fucking nappies. Now they've grew up way bigger than you and they've got a dusty. So now they've got to let go to college. So now if FSG had the love, which we all want as fans for the football club, they wanted the best for the football club, which would mean they love the football club. Then what I'm leading to is they would sell the football club or look to sell the football club. Because think about it, if you love it and they know they can't take it further, which I believe they think they can't, then that's where I'd sell the football club if I was them. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. They don't love us in that way. It is a side business. And that's fine if you want to make money. But it doesn't mean we have to agree with it as fans. Johnny, what are you saying, you barstool? Johnny? Don't piss me off, Johnny. I'm going to give you the chance with a soup. He keeps joining and leaving. He's pissing me off here. Alternative FM, thank you for the super chat, sir. Appreciate it. I'll put it towards my birthday chippy later. Do you think this upcoming season could be Salah's last? Especially if we fail to secure Champions League again? If that's the case, we could see mass protests to try and force FSG out. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I believe it'll be tough to see Mo Salah leave, and I don't believe we'd sell him for anything less than a significant offer. And if we did get outside of Champions League, that'd probably be something to do with Salah playing bad. So I don't think fans would mind it if he had a poor season. But yeah, we'll see. How are we, Johnny? Are you ready?
Can you hear me now, mate?
I can fucking hear you.
Finally.
I can hear you. Chat,
Sorry,
make sure you let me know that if it's echoing or not. How are we, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm sound, lad. What about yourself?
Bloody marvellous. A year younger, my friend.
Oh, just so you know, too, I bought a fucking microphone and that, mate, trying to get better quality for you. And you're sat there giving it, well, it needs to be prepared, this, that, the other. What more can I do?
Have you got a microphone?
Yeah, I did, but it wasn't working. So I've just gone back to the old speaker, mate.
I was going to say, you sound all right the way you are, but I appreciate the effort. That's an A for effort right there. Chat, can we get a like from Johnny with the effort? Johnny, what I assume you listened into some of the stuff I was just talking about.
Yeah.
Was there anything you took away, and was there anything you disagreed with?
Nah, I think I was there from when you started talking about like where we are now as a club and what FSG's done for us, and what they've done has been good. And like you said, like they're at the point now where they need to look around at Arsenal, at Chelsea, at Man City, at United, and see that they can't compete with them. So they need to find someone who can compete with them for us as an investor who's going to fund us, or they need to sell the club.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to lie to you, lads. By the way, just before I respond to you, Johnny, I just want to respond to Red Chili because he decided to leave a £10 super thanks on a video earlier. Red Chili, shout out to you, sir, absolute hero. Want to make sure that goes noticed because yes, I did see it, and yes, it was you who gave me the joke of the Chinese takeaway. There was also a kid last night. I want to make sure that I get him and give him a shout out because he sent a super chat, but it never came through. Please don't say I can't find it. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. I can't find it. I will find it though, and I'll sort out that kid with a shout out in future. Mike Daz says, need to support you. I'm tired of talking in circles. Nothing will change until the fan base does. Still might not. We are between a rock and a hard place. I agree. I do think that until we see the collective masses of the fan base change, kind of like what happened with the Super League, then you're going to get the change required. There's examples and case studies in the past to suggest that when you get together in numbers, so for the tickets, when they tried to hire the ticket prices, we got together and straight away they said, we're not doing that no more because that was ruthless. They all walked out at once and we never thought they'd do that. And, anytime you do show these owners a little bit of something, they do give back. But we don't use our voice enough, Johnny. Is that something that you agree with?
Yeah, definitely. When you look at the process that United have, and wearing the old green and yellow colours.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think this screams just better than it, Johnny, because you don't show your face anyway.
Yeah, it's probably better like that. But like I was just saying, lad, United, they seem to have really pushed, and they've even got games cancelled, haven't they? When you think back to when we went away to Old Trafford and the game got cancelled, like we've never had that sort of protest, have we? As a fan base.
We don't do it. We're shitbags, but we're fine with everything. Because our fan base is so big, we fall into the traps of liking the short-term stuff, and we don't see the overall picture. So fans will go into a season saying, "Oh, James, lads, we need to compete this season, don't we?" But then everybody doesn't realise that when you attach to these transfer rumours and you attach to these big names and you attach to projects, and it hasn't happened before. If this was FSG's first 7 years, I'd be like, wow. Amazing, you know what I mean? Even if it was just the first 10. But now it's been a case of where it's north of 10 years. And we saw the early part kind of be, until Klopp came in, it was very stagnant. It was very underwhelming. Now it's got to a point where it's back to underwhelming after arguably the best period of the club since friggin' Paisley. So I just think it's a big shame that they never even went on top, because they had an opportunity there, Johnny. They had an opportunity, but they kind of messed it up for themselves.
Oh, lad, the history books could be so different, couldn't they? All of us can easily see how Liverpool could have won 3, possibly even 4 of the last, 5 Premier Leagues if FSG would have played it differently. When you think back over the years to when we was at our strongest, in my opinion, with Gini, Henderson and Fabinho in the midfield, everybody always knew that we needed another midfielder. And that was like 2018, 2019.
Nah, facts, Johnny. Hey, you're on to how much smarter that Johnny's got since coming on the stream chat. You're on to the way that he's not a little shit no more. I'm only joking with you, lad. Shout out to Shannon. He says Liverpool interest in Romeo Lavia is concrete, and an offer for him will come this week or next week. Source. Jeremy Doku was being courted by Liverpool with the winger full uncertain. Right, so we're not going to get Doku. Let me get that very clear. Doku will not be a Liverpool player now, possibly in the future. I can't read the future, but he won't be now.
What do you think about Lavia, James?
Lavia, he's a good player. I like him. But then I raised the question, is he better than Stefan Bajcetic? And if he's not better than Stefan Bajcetic, then why are we getting him?
I was about to say that because, in my opinion, Stefan Bajcetic is you can't say he's worse than him, can you? You can't sit here and go, but he's miles worse than him.
I 100% agree. I think if you were to get Lavia for what would be 30 to 40 million, would I be correct in estimating that price? Around 30 to 40?
Yeah, maybe if we were lucky, I'd say 20, but from there, 20 to 40 million.
Now, let's say even 20. That's 20 million of your budget on a player who's 18, 19 and unproven, the same way that Stefan Bajcetic is unproven, and we've already got him. So if there's things about Lavia that we like, but we cannot guarantee that he's going to bring us success, and there's things about Bajcetic that we like, but we can't guarantee that he brings us success, then why go out and get Lavia? Because I don't mind Bajcetic. So as much as I don't mind Lavia coming, it must be on the sentiment that either Bajcetic is going out, or we've got a different system, or Klopp maybe knows that he could play Bajcetic as an 8. I have no idea. But if they are both 6s, which is what I've seen them both as, I don't understand how we get both. And I do think it would probably be very not productive going out and getting Lavia if you're just going to have Bajcetic and you still rate him. You know what I mean? Let me read a few. Sorry, was you going to respond, Johnny?
All I was going to say, mate, was that I feel like that Lavia just isn't that next level of player that we need.
He doesn't take us from 5th to 1st. No, nah. I agree with you, lad. I 100% agree. Shout out to Shannon. If you do see any more updates like this, always bring them up. Shout out to you, sir. I saw Texas Dave in the chat as well. Shout out to Texas Dave. My brother, man. Rather Kone than Lavia. What about you? Not even a question. Not even a question. No doubt. RS says Lavia is way better, but he won't win you the league, etc. I get you. That's the thing I worry about, is that the additional midfielder on top of McAllister needs to be, in my opinion, that guy who will improve us. You could throw out 10 names. I've gave you Kone. I've said Kone, in my opinion. If I got to see a midfield of Kone and McAllister and Fabinho, for instance, next season, and then you could rotate Fabinho with Bajcetic or whoever you wanted, then I'd be very happy with that. But I do see the Lavia links increasing day by day, which only leads me to think maybe they aren't as high favoured on Bajcetic as maybe we all thought he was. And it's just the case of Liverpool having to use what is like a very average youth academy. And not that Bajcetic is average. I do think he's got potential. But again, if he's not ready, then it's something where you've just relied on him as your backup CTM when he's not ready. Be good if you were a bit more accommodated in terms of squad depth, like what we was in the quadruple chasing season. Anything you want to add there, Johnny?
Do you know who Lavia gives me serious vibes of? And I think you might be able to relate to this. But when we got Dominic Solanke off Chelsea and everyone was giving it, he's going to be the best. You guys wait.
That was not the name I was expecting, lads.
But we bought him, didn't we, lad? And everyone thought he was going to be the next best thing when he was 22, 23. He was going to be this tall, aggressive striker. And we were so lucky to have got him off Chelsea. And look what happened to him. We was thanking our lucky stars when we sold him for 20 million to Bournemouth.
Yeah, facts. Bro, Dominic Solanke, Jordan Ibe, Ryan Brewster.
Yep. Ryan Brewster's got a Champions League medal.
The barbershop. The barbershop with Dave in the background.
Yeah.
At this age, how can a man... And he was just there like that. I respected it, by the way. The shamelessness was beautiful. It's what I would have done.
Played a grand total of 0 minutes.
I had to sign to 1 day's contract and claim that. This is a good shout from A-Mane. By the way, A-Mane, I know that your name isn't A-Mane. I know that it's A-Man or Eamon. I'm going to keep calling you A-Mane. Is that okay with you? If you're not offended, then I'm going to keep calling you A-Mane. I like that more. A-Mane! I wanted Kovacic, to be honest. Do you know what? Someone else mentioned a little bit earlier. They were a City fan, and that Barella is our man. Do you know what? Kovacic was someone who I would have loved. I think he would have been like that decent Thiago alternative if you weren't looking to use Thiago this season, or he would have been a nice complement to add to what is like, one world-class midfielder. I don't think Kovacic is too far off that level. At least he can be world-class on his day, and that's what I always look for. But again, it's like the old thing and type of player that we don't go for. But then Barella, that's someone with the bigger name. But Johnny, let me know if you agree with this. I'm glad I've got someone here to question me. But I'd take Kone above Barella. And who's the other name that was just mentioned? Kovacic.
I don't know, lad. See, straight away, I think Barella, because I just think of Inter's run to the Champions League final, and then I think went into won the league last year with Lukaku and Conte. The year before last. But I would have to edge it to Barella. But I see what you're saying. I would take Kone over Kovacic because of the age difference.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Would you prefer Kone over Thuram?
No, personally, I think Thuram's quality.
Are you a Thuram type of guy?
I'm not saying that he's going to come in and he's going to absolutely revolutionise the midfield from day one, right? But what I'm saying is we've always had massive injury problems, right? We've just let 2 midfielders that have probably got a grand total of less than 10 appearances together that was worth 90 million in Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita, who just didn't play, leave for free. And we're about to sign a player, I hope, in Thuram that's, never been injured. He's a young age in 21. He's a fresh book, so hopefully under Klopp can mould him and make him that sort of player he sees. So I think it's very promising. And I think Thuram is first team quality. I think you can play him from game one. But I don't think, whereas like Lavia, I think Lavia is like an understudy.
Lavia, I agree with. I think if you want to say Thuram is it can be that, then that's fine. What I usually respond to people, and I say to people, and you've maybe heard me say this, is that if he's not the right here right now, then that's the issue that I have, is that why are we... Because we saw what happened last season when we don't focus on the right here right now. When we got Darwin Núñez, a lot of people have admitted it didn't go the way we thought it was going to, just because it went right here right now. So if that's the case, it's fine to get Darwin the same way it's okay to get Thuram. But then where's the right here right now? Because I look at Kone and I think he's got all the ability in the world for the right here right now. I think last season he had a great year. And I look at Thuram and I think he was someone who was good in a system. I think Kone's more versatile. Barella, I think he's someone who's good as a player overall, but then I think he was also massively benefited in the inter-system. I think if there's anybody Klopp can get a tune out of, someone that he can connect to mentally, someone who we can maximise for the physical and technical ability that he's got, I think Kone would be a good shout. And do you know what I like about Kone, Johnny? And I think Thuram might have something similar, but he's a lovely number 8 and can offer the offensive side of the game and the ball control and the composure. But then he can also play as a very mobile number 6, and that's what I really enjoy, is that versatility, that young youth option, athleticism, and everything in between that involves Kone. Plus, he's a similar price to all these other people, and Barella would be around 70 million. So I'm just thinking about our budget, and let's say if we've spent 40 mil. If we've got 100 of that left, or let's say it's 60, as it most likely is, then we still need at least 2 players, and one of them would have to be someone less than 60, 70 mil.
Yeah, definitely.
So let me know let us know if you agree in the chat.
What do you think about this, James? Right, I heard this on a podcast. I can't remember the name. If anyone in the chat knows, say it. Obviously, tell James. But what do you think about Núñez? Because let me give you this hypothetical situation, right? We don't sign Núñez last summer. We saved that 70 million. And lad, like, what's the excuse? That 70 million and the money we've got now, we couldn't have been in there for Jude. Like, with the most money, giving him the best deal.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think that's...
Repeat the question.
So, basically, in a hypothetical situation, right? We don't buy Núñez last year for 70 million. We keep that money. We signed Gakpo in January. The season will play out probably how it does, because Núñez didn't really impact games and win us games on his own.
So where we are right now without Núñez, basically. So if we had that money,
but you've still got that 70 million plus the money you've got now, and you can sign these midfielders. Do you think you would then get Bellingham?
I don't know if I ever would. If the funds was there, I would have tried the Bellingham thing. Yeah, for sure. But I think he chose Real Madrid over us because of where we ended up. So if we were in the hypothetical specifically, if we was in a position where we are right now, I don't think Bellingham would have came to us because he never. So I believe what would have been good there is that we could build in the all-round team. So, for instance, Mikey mentions Núñez and whatnot, but then there's other people in the chat. I think it was Festus who mentions about Matip and that we need to really sort out this centre-back situation, because whether Matip stays or goes, he's someone who's not reliable. So we need to get someone else there, because we know Konate's had his injury issues, Verge's had his injury issue. So that needs to be accommodated too. And if we ignore that, that's a huge issue. So I want to see us go out and get the depth, Johnny. I would rather Kone, a decent right back and a centre back, than Jude and some random player. Like, I would genuinely, I would rather 5 players who accommodate the squad well than Mbappe and whoever else I've just mentioned. Then honestly, because it's one of those things. It's important to have the all-round squad. A proof to this, or a testament to this, is City. Before Bernardo Silva joined City, he was all right. But he was only all right. He weren't considered a top name. He was in the same team as Fabinho at the Monaco team. It was a great team. It had Mbappe in and all these, but they bought him. They bought Mahrez. They bought all these players. Some of them you could guess were going to go on to be world-class, but they weren't world-class names there and then. So
City's squad's that world-class. They've just won the league with 0 fullbacks. They haven't got a single, natural fullback. Maybe Kyle Walker, but he didn't even play for him for the majority of the season. They shipped out Cancelo in January. They went, "You're a bad influence. Get out."
Do you know what, lads? Their system is unreal. Like, it's an alien type system that they got going on with that manager, with those players, with the type of fullbacks like the Cancelos that they've got. And now they still won the treble without Cancelo. Imagine us letting go of a player of that caliber.
Yeah, just imagine during the season when we was going for the league in January, we just went, "All right, Trent, we don't need you anymore."
That's what it's like.
All right, Trent, you're not playing. You're a bad influence.
That's actually what it's like. That's how City can take the piss.
Exactly. Hey, let me pose this to you and see what people think as just an overall opinion. Man City's second team, right, could beat the majority, probably all, of the Premier League's first teams. I believe that. I would give City good odds.
Be a good fucking shout. They get top 4. They get top 4.
And I'm saying the first team are sat on the bench waiting to come on.
Do you know what? Oh yeah. They'd win the league still. You can bring on those players for the final half an hour and they'll win. Imagine being able to bring. You've got 5 subs. You can bring on Guns. Sorry, not Gundogan. KDB, Haaland, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva. You're mad. They'll be sound. Diaz, they're sound, lad. They're all day. Them City are just all day. They could play. Have you noticed how good their academy is as well?
The quality.
I hate them, but I respect them, because they win everything on an academy level. Now they're doing well at women's too, so nothing but respect.
Trent is the only... Trent and Curtis Jones, I can't not say Curtis Jones, but they're the only 2 lads that have ever come through the academy of recent and actually, lived up to the expectation.
Being somewhat established, and even people have the questions over Curtis still, so I hear what you're saying. I want to read out Pan of Scousers because I like it when people want to oppose me, and it'd be good to even hear your views on Núñez as well. By the way, 300 people in the stream. Can we equate this to as many likes as possible, please, chat? You know what I mean? Leave a little birthday like in that. Be a little bit generous. James, I think you don't give Núñez enough respect. He scored 15 goals and 4 assists in a team that wasn't firing on all 4 cylinders. If he had come the year before, it could have been 25 plus. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. You know what I mean, mate? It's one of those things where he came in, and if it wasn't for his missed chances in the start of the season, which is when he played the majority of his games, we probably wouldn't have been scrounging as low as we was at the start of the season. I'm just being deadly honest. There was points dropped when Núñez came in. Not solely because of Núñez, yes, because of the poor defending, but he had enough chances in himself to win us those games. He could have scored half of those chances, and we still could have won those games. What are you saying, Johnny?
There was some points dropped solely because of Núñez. If Luis Diaz didn't exist, we'd have got nothing against Crystal Palace.
100%. Plenty of games, plenty of examples where Núñez let us down for points. And then you think, how many points did we miss out on top 4? Was it 5 points, 6 points, something along those lines?
It was somewhat small, wasn't it, considering we was about 50 halfway through the season. Huge.
And Núñez played the majority of the start of the season. So let's just put 2 and 2 together, Pan of Scouts, because I think people think that I can't stand Núñez to a point where I think he's terrible at football. No, I only like to get the point across. He's not a league-winning striker. And I have my doubts he can ever be a league-winning striker. And the examples we've got so far is that he was at Benfica. And yes, he was someone who got goals and this, that, and the other. But then you see the type of goals he was scoring. And it's the type of chances you just do not get in the Premier League. I remember seeing it. I was like, okay, numbers is one thing, but then it's about doing that in the Premier League and translating it well. Because in the Premier League, you've got less time to think, and you can see that's what gets to Núñez. Now, what he needs to work on is composure, because the finishing alone doesn't get better. It will become more lethal with composure. It will get more goals, but that's the thing that he needs to work on, which is very, very, very difficult. So the only reason why I raised the point about Núñez, 15 goals, 4 assists, that's fine. Fine if you want to use stats, but I also saw the games he didn't win us. I saw the points drop because of him. And then now we've missed out on Champions League revenue because of him. Maybe that could have been the difference of Jude or not. Very unlikely, I know. I don't even think we were ever going to get you regardless. But let's say that could be true. That's something now you've missed out on. Núñez has actually been a bigger detriment than what I thought he was going to be. I'm not even trying to take the piss, Johnny. He's been a bigger... I still thought we were going to get top 4. I never thought his missed chances from the start of the season were going to cause us or cost us that much. And yes, it's not just him. But when Gakpo came in, you saw us go on a 7-8 game win streak or something like that, winning the majority of our games. It was that.
I was just about to bring that up.
So much.
I was literally just about to bring that up, James.
Go on. Continue.
Gakpo, right, has played half the games Núñez has, and he's got 9 goals and assists to his name, right? He's probably got, it says 20 appearances, but that's going to be, if we look at the minutes in that, a lot of them are going to be subs, aren't they?
Yep.
So he has been a lot more influential in this team in Núñez's position than Núñez, who was what? He was double the price?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, 100%. James, first game of the season, if you're asking me, Núñez or Gakpo up front, it's Gakpo all day.
Yeah. No, 100%. 100. If Núñez plays, he plays on the left, and I would not play him above Diaz, and I assume the club wouldn't play him above Diaz because they've just made him the number 7. But then they've just made Núñez the number 9, haven't they?
Yep.
So I wondered if that's for shirt sales or if it's for something else. But before you continue, Johnny, let me read some of these. By the way, these type of questions, I'm just not one to start beef with people in it. And Troops is a G. There were so many names you could have inserted at the end there, but come on, Troops is sound. People just don't like emotive people, I think. But I like Troops. I think he's boss, lad. He's always been boss to me. I totally disagree, James. Nunes created and scored some great goals and will be missed. Or will be missed chances better this season. Do you know here's the thing. Nunes created. He didn't really create many great chances from my memory. Maybe there's people who can correct me. Yes, there was times where he created, which I would assume every attacker at some point in their life creates. But then you've got to create well. I can put a cross in, but then I've got to put a crossing well. And although there was chances that he got, and I remember there was 1 or 2 times where he slipped it into Salah and Salah missed, fair dues. But that doesn't mean he was an overall great creator, and it now doesn't mean we now rely on Nunes to become the assist merchant, because you saying he created goals is now you saying he can do that further at a level that wins us the league. Not a chance. He came in to be a goal scorer and he missed the majority of his chances. Let's call a spade a spade. Don't patronise me or you, and don't patronise him. He's a professional footballer, and I'm sure he would want to be held to higher standards. I'm sure he, after missing those chances, thought, I can do better than that. And if he didn't, then I want him gone, because I want higher standards. So here's the thing. You can say I'm harsh. I think Nunes has done worse than what I ever thought he could have. I really do, and I'm not even just trying to wind people up either. Now that I put 2 and 2 together, and I think, wow, we're in Europa League. And it's because of his missed chances. Obviously because it's defence, but his chances. We had a bad defence 2 seasons ago, but we still got Champions League. Yeah, shit. Shout out to Noah.
Phillips and Williams.
Phillips and Williams. Bro, we had no centre-backs and we still got top 4. Because we had a lethal attack. We had attackers who were scoring more than what we were conceding, which we could have done if Nunes even scored half of his chances. I'm not trying to be a hater. He could be good one day, but he's just not the right here right now. I don't know why that hurts people. I don't know why they get so much in the feelings. And I want better for Nunes, as I'm sure he wants better. I'm sure if he's sitting there saying, 15 goals was boss, that concerns me to a degree.
He needs to be sat there looking at how many Haaland scored. And like everyone in the chat,
the comparison as well, it was even worse. Fans done it. I even said, do you know people were fuming at me because I said he's not better than Haaland at the time. This was an example. At the time, I said that he's not better than Haaland, and it's not even close, and the goal scoring won't even be close. People fumed at me. Like, James, why are you so anti-Nunes? Why have you got an agenda? He's going to get better over the course of the season. Now he's going to get better next season. Then it's going to be the season after that. Oh, don't worry, James, because of this. Just be aware that he just might not be that good. And if he's not the right here right now, then we need to get the right here right now.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to be the best. You know what I'm saying, Johnny?
Yeah, exactly, James. And like, I'm sure you, like myself, we're both sat here saying this about Nunes, but like, Nunes, lad, if on the odd chance you are listening for some reason, me and James both want you to score 100 goals this season,
Shut me the fuck up, lads. Shut me the fuck up. And then if you want, tell everyone to unsubscribe from the channel, because I bet you they will if you score us 100 goals a season. They will. Do you think anyone will watch my YouTube? If Nunes scores 100 goals a season and then tells everyone to unsubscribe from James Redmond TV, they do it. And I'd be fine with that. That'd be a great exchange.
I just blame it on me, mate.
Yeah, I'll blame it on you. I'll be like, you gave him the idea, you bastard. Shout out to Amir Khan. You guys are wrong about Nunes. He will be bosh. Bosh. What are we wrong about? Raise the point. Thank you for the super chat. Liam, happy birthday, mate. Hope you had a boss day. Thank you, sir. You're a legend, Liam. What a legend. What a legend. Nunes looks like he plays football very nervous. I feel like he picked up when Gakpo come in, because the pressure wasn't on him. I suppose there's a good point there, but I don't know. I think the number change is to give him confidence to excel. I'd like to just think wearing a Liverpool shirt would be enough to give you confidence to excel. But, how can you... Because confidence was never my issue with Nunes. But, people thought because he couldn't speak English, he weren't confident. I don't know how being able to say hello opposed to hola or goodbye opposed to adios translates to good finishing. I don't know how it translates to good finishing. It just makes no sense to me. So that's another excuse. That doesn't make sense for me and Nunes. I think he can become a good striker, but we're talking about being league winners. That's the only reason why I bring up Nunes. But of course, if he proves me wrong, I'm more than happy to sit there on the front line, but I'm not just going to change my opinion when I've held this opinion since before he joined. But it's not an agenda. It's being backed up even more. What what have we got Kane 2 seasons ago?
Oh, we win everything. We win everything. That's what happens.
Imagine.
Kane is like Ireland and Firmino combined.
By the way, can we just embrace what chat? Even you can agree with this. Chat, is this a W or L? Henry. This is what people do for Nunes, Johnny. This is the length that people go for Nunes. I'm not trying to hate on Nunes. You're just making it worse. Henry's first season in the Prem wasn't great. And look at the player he became. Nunes has potential to be class. I think we've been spoiled by the likes of Torres, Suarez, etc. Imagine saying, by having world-class strikers, we've been spoiled. By having the standard that this club should have, we've been spoiled. We've been spoiled by the bare minimum. Like a kid is spoiled by getting breastfed by the mother. That's what you're saying. You're saying that a kid getting breastfed from their mother is a privilege. It is literally the requirement. It is the requirement. Don't make it a privilege. It is a requirement. Am I right, Johnny?
Yeah, like, oh, come on, mate. You know what I mean? If you're going to make a point, at least do something that has some sort of logic and substance behind it.
Facts. Second point. Henry. We're doing this. People fumed at me the other day when I said Suarez was better than Henry, which I'm still sticking by the way. How you can even say young Henry and young Nunes in the same conversation? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe a bit crack cocaine, you know? Maybe a bit Budge, you know? A dodgy cigar.
Very possibly.
Very possible. Stupid guy, Tommy, eh? Spoiled. Liverpool fans spoiled. You never heard such a thing, Johnny?
Yeah, spoiled with poverty.
Will LFC, if it didn't pop up, would you be able to send it again? If that sounds, only because I didn't see it, and I would hate could you read out the super? You're the guy. This is the guy who sent me a super chat. I was trying to find this before, you know, Will. Wait there, lad. Remind me what you were asking me again. He sent me a super chat yesterday and it didn't pop up. Here it is. Here you go, lad, so you can read out the super chat. Wait there, what did he ask? Oh, yeah, so this gentleman, so shout out to Will. He asked, I know he's banned, but Ivan Toney would be a brilliant signing for us. So he's bringing up the idea of signing Ivan Toney. Johnny, I think you know my stance on Ivan Toney, innit?
Yeah, if Ivan Toney's happy to come to Liverpool and sit on the bench like Origi and come on and do his part, more than, take him. Thinks he's starting every week? Probably not.
Which Ivan Toney?
Yeah, I don't see him being a starter for us. Do you?
I absolutely do. I think he walks right in. I think Ivan Toney is the complete striker. Like, if we think Nunes can come in and start, then 100% Ivan Toney after this ban. If we wanted to buy him in January or in the summer, it won't happen. But if we wanted to exercise that option, I think it'd be very intelligent. I think he's one of the most underrated strikers in the league. I think he got... Didn't he get like... Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say, lad, I agree. But the only thing I have to question with Toney is it brings me into that sort of, is his mindset right? You know, is he a Klopp player? Like, that's why I said on the bench.
That's a good point. I think the point that you've just said there about Toney as well, the mentality, just because regardless, he comes with baggage, whether right or wrongly, you know, maybe it's unfair the treatments he's getting at the moment, but he's coming with baggage. Not the thing that you want, especially if you come into Liverpool where the profile is going to be raised and you're going to be getting spoke about more. So it becomes that little bit more difficult to enter him in the conversation. But let me just get one thing absolutely clear. Ivan Toney would be the best striker in our team if he was to join tomorrow. He would be the best striker. And by the way, it might not be close. It might actually be considerably distant, but it could also be like what you've just said. You know, let me reference my good old friend Voldemort, John Joe Shelby. That was a guy with the utmost ability. No, I'm being serious, Johnny. Do you know John Joe Shelby?
No, I agree with you. I haven't said anything. He had such a high IQ.
He was boss, really, lad. He was even at times at Newcastle.
The English Iniesta.
Exactly. Like, if I was a scout, And John Joe Shelby never played for Liverpool, and I went and watched John Joe Shelby, I'm saying, yeah, let's jump on the ship. Or like, not even a question. Not even a question. Because you watch him, and he's one of the most natural footballers you'll see. And it's the same with Ivan Toney. Do you know Ivan Toney has like a mixture of, like Haaland, Benzema. I'm not saying he's as good as those players, but to score, was he like the 3rd or 4th top goal scorer last season in a Brentford team?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just saying, for him to have had that season in that team, you think he couldn't go to City and score at least similar goals to Haaland? You don't think he'd go to Real Madrid and have similar impact to Benzema? Like, genuinely, if he was given the chance, based on his quality alone, I think it's possible. The only thing, like you say, Johnny, which is actually a boss point, like, because I always try and find holes in your arguments, this was a good one, is that his mentality. If he can't align with the high standards of Klopp, if the high standards are still there, then yeah, that's where you think maybe this wouldn't be the best one to exercise.
Yeah. And see, the only thing with Ivan Toney is, I understand what you're saying. He does definitely have attributes of, a Benzema, a Haaland. He's good in the air. He's good under pressure. All these things. He can take the last penalty to win you the game. But he also has 300 odd charges, for betting, which he pleaded guilty to 200 of. And you've got to remember that I think Trippier had less than 10 when he told a few of his mates he was going back to Newcastle before he signed from when he left Atletico. And they all put a few cheeky bids in. And I think he got banned for nearly, was it 8 to 10 games? Tony's been dealt with fair, to be honest, from that logic with Trippier, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Slagging Nunes off, yet creaming yourself over Toney. What the fuck? And the difference is I'm consistent with my views. So I've been, if you go back and watch an old 88 Sport video, I'm giving you references to go and see this. It was when we was on Zoom. I only did about 5 videos with them, so you shouldn't take too long to find it if you actually want to go and do research. This was when he came up from the Championship. The season Brentford got promoted. They finished second. In fact, they might have came through the playoffs. But that season, it was the Euros. And I was saying, bring Ivan Toney to the England selection. I rated him that highly, and he was a Championship player. Bear in mind, there was Callum Wilson, Jamie Vardy, Harry Kane. There was good options to take. But I said Ivan Toney. So as much as you want to say, Dave, oh, James, you're weird, Nunes, this, that, I was unbelievably consistent with Toney from before he even came into the Prem. So just let me say that first and foremost. Second thing, I have remained consistent on Nunes. Before he joined, I weren't a fan of Nunes. After he has joined, I am still not the biggest fan. So at least I give you substance. At least I give you a premise to work off of when I give you my point. You saying to me, slagging Nunes, you're creaming yourself over Toney, implies you think Nunes is better. Well, let me tell you something. Toney scored 20 goals in a season with Brentford last season where he had the most pressure. People said Nunes weren't confident. My guy was getting accused every single week. One week it was a video of him saying, fuck Brentford. Next week it was a video of him coming out and saying this. And then the next week it was the betting allegations, betting against his old team and that. So that's why I'm saying, with all that pressure, he was still a monster. With all that pressure, he still created. So everything you say Nunes is, that's exactly what Ivan Toney has been. And that's what he's been since Brentford. So one thing you can say to me is that maybe I'm wrong, right? But I will respond back to you. I've been unbelievably consistent, Dave. I love you, mate. I do love you. But I need more of expansion on points. You know what I mean? When to work off of this. Would you take Kyogo from Celtic, James? Anything you know about this player, Johnny?
Nope. I've no clue, mate. Maybe if you show me his FIFA card, I could give you a comment.
I'd love to pay. I'd love to pay more respect. You know what I mean, like to the super chat. But I just don't think I'm going to get anywhere with that player. I just don't know much about him. Chat, let me know. Give a response to this gentleman. Is this a player that you take if you know anything about him? Darwin Núñez' issue is that he is in his head too much. Needs to do what comes natural instead of overthinking it. I agree.
Oh, yeah, James, sorry. I do know who that player is. He's got a different last name. He's from Japan, I'm pretty sure, and he's 28 years old, and I don't really rate him. I wouldn't take him as a second striker. He only just cuts it at Celtic, in my opinion.
Oh, my days. I actually know who you're talking about now. Yeah. I know who you're striker. Yeah, I haven't seen way more than enough, and I would not trust that to be my league of where I get my striker from. I'm not gonna lie.
Definitely.
One of those things. If Ivan Toney was there, though, you know what I mean? Mbappe to Liverpool, could it ever happen? No. I think the only way we get Mbappe is if we offer PSG Mo Salah. Not even that would, like, we're not getting him. We wouldn't do that. So it's not going to happen.
People just need to understand, don't they? that we can't pay superstars. Salah is lucky that he's getting what he's getting.
Mad that, innit? Do you know what's crazy? Mane left, and bear in mind, Mane was like less of a star when he left than Salah, yeah. Salah's on less money than what Mane is now. Mane's on more money at Bayern, a club that he's never done anything for. He's on more money there than what Salah is for us.
Yep. Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Well, I don't know about you, James, but a year ago, I vividly remember that Mane and Salah was both on 150 to 200 grand a week before they got the renewals, and Salah went up to 350 with bonuses, and Mane was offered 200 grand a week. Like, how can you do that? How?
It's wild. It's actually wild when you put it like
that. It's mad,
isn't
it, mate?
That's wild, bro. Will says Tony would easily score 25 plus every season if he played for us. And I think that would be top 5 strikers in the world. I think with his ability, I think Klopp could make him or put him in that conversation. James, do you think Núñez will surpass 30 goals overall this season? I've always said I think he can score 20 to 25 goals, but my worry comes if it takes away from the overall team. Like someone tried saying he was our best attacker last season. Did you not see Mo Salah? Did you not see Gakpo? Did you not see Firmino? Jota when he came back. Games. Like I thought all of them surpassed Núñez. So I don't want to do the thing with... Now here's the thing. I won't even go as far to say someone like Jota. Núñez done okay in moments, but he done very bad in others. So that's why I've got to raise the point that, he could score 30 goals, but a lot of things need to go right for Núñez to score 30 goals. A lot of things don't need to go right for Salah to score 30. My man does it every season. So in the same case, we don't need two stylistic like-for-like players. We need the creativity that's going to be behind this front three, and Gakpo can be that guy who gives the goals more to Diaz and Salah, and even chip in with a few himself, because he's just more of an efficient type player. Shout out to Drunk Vigo. James, we need to get Hussam to Liverpool. It's our only hope. Facts, bro. Only hope of saving ourselves out here, blood. Correct. Núñez is like any other SA players. Need to settle with the pace styles of the Premiership. Yeah, stylistically, it just made sense, but we could go and get that somewhere else. But anyway, Johnny, do you want to say anything before we sign off? Any topics you want to bring up?
Not really, lad. If we want some facts quickly, FSG paid 300 million for Liverpool. Liverpool's now estimated to be worth 4.7 billion. That's 15.666 something to a decimal. They've, from their original investment, they should probably just sell the club and be happy with that amount of return, on investment.
Especially if they can't take it further, but they must have something up their sleeve to where at least the value of the football club increases. Maybe they're thinking, let's get back in the Champions League before we sell this thing, you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But that's a good stat.
It just baffles me with the biggest club in England, and they can't. It's like they act like there's no buyers.
It's wild, bro. Like, that's what I try and say to people is like, how are you not just going to even say no one wants to buy Liverpool, no one's looking for it? Or at FSG, just bastards to negotiate with, because you only hear the side of the story of the media, and who gets the news from it, it's from the club. So it's a tough one. Shout
FSG,
out to Souls.
All I can say, mate, and this is just facts, right? It's just quick. FSG are trying to sell Liverpool with JP Morgan. JP Morgan was involved with Bernie Madoff. Google who Bernie Madoff is.
Chat, Johnny's giving you golden gems here. Johnny's giving you golden gems. Wait there, JP Morgan, yeah?
Yep, JP Morgan. That's who's involved with trying
what he's saying.
us.
Look into what he's saying. Look into
have
what he's saying.
Have a look, guys. Or if not, go on Netflix and have a look at Bernie Madoff.
Yeah. No, defo do. So Slick Kicks, thank you for the super chat. Johnny's converted. Johnny is FSG out. You think get FSG out, Johnny?
Oh, mate, get him out.
He's been on these streams for too long, chat. He needed to see the ways eventually. As Johnny converted. That's funny, that, the way he's worded that. Guys, Johnny for New Sporting Director. Yes, this works. Johnny, just get the wallet out, lads. Have you got any good 9-to-5s coming up?
Yeah, no worries, mate. Don't worry, mate.
We'll try and increase the wages on James Redmond TV so we can increase the funds. Guys, thank you for tuning in. Big shout out to Johnny who made the stream. Johnny, do you want to say anything to your fans?
Honestly, just guys, make sure you like and subscribe. Without you guys, this isn't possible. And make sure you come back tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Same energy as always, guys. Big love to everyone. Much love to all of you. I've actually got to go because I'm supposed to be live on Flawless's channel now. So let me just message him. I will be there now. So in that case, guys, if you want to join me on Sarcasm City TV, then be sure to do so. But until then, I'll see you all in a bit. Much love, people. Smash a like.